Hello, everybody. It's the old bear from the old bear's den at Bigfoot. You get to look at me today with the algorithm that YouTube's got. About every 5 or 6 videos, you got to put a human face in it. Anyway, I am sitting here at my house, and I have a story for you that happened in Arkansas, which is about over 3 weeks old now. 3.5, almost a month. And what happened was, this family went camping in Arkansas. They live in Oklahoma, but they went to Arkansas in the Ouachita Mountains. And while they were there, they got there on Friday. Had a good time. Had all kinds of fun. The kids had a blast, is what they said. The kids had a good time. Mom and Dad had a good time. No issues, no problems. Got there on Friday, around 11 or 12 o'clock. Perfect time for Mom and Dad because by that time the kids probably driving them crazy in the truck. Come on, I want to do something. I want to get out. I want to stop. Typical kids, almost teenagers, just enough to drive you crazy. Anyway, they get there to the Ouachita Mountains, and they get their camp set up. Had a wonderful afternoon. Mom fixed dinner. It was, I guess, probably hot dogs and hamburgers. They didn't ask that question, but I'm guessing probably hot dogs or hamburgers, and they, and may have built a fire and had s'mores or marshmallows or whatever. Anyway, these cats are. Those kittens have grown quite a bit, y'all. They are playing, fighting each other. Anyway, back to the story. Sorry, guys. My head's itching. I've had a long day. Anyway, they get there to the Ouachita Mountains. Friday goes along good. Mom and Dad sits up till, I think they said 10 o'clock. Kids went to bed at 8. I guess because they wore themselves out. No problems all night long. Although, bug tried to attack my nose. Anyway, they have a pretty good night. No problems. Saturday rolls around. They go out and the kids have a blast all day. They take them out on the lake. They're staying at a lake. And they're in like a little bit of remote camping area. And there's people around, no big deals. But that night, they heard a loud scream or a howl from way off. He said probably close to half a mile. So, they didn't think nothing about it. No big deal. It's not near us. We ain't worried about it. Go to bed. Nothing happens. Well, Sunday, the other campers start leaving Sunday morning. They're pulling their campers out, and they're the only ones there. They're staying there for a week, and they're just gonna hang out there. And the state got opened up, and they started going camping and doing things. They wanted to go camping. The kids did. State opened up, so that's where they went. But Sunday, he said Sunday about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, there wasn't hardly anybody left in the campground. Everybody else had pretty much left. There might have been one or two campers in the campground. Well, Sunday night, they hear that howl again. Well, this time it's closer, a lot closer. He said no more than a quarter of a mile away from him. So, and this was right at dark when they heard it. You know, the kids are outside and they're like, "Mom, Dad, what is that? What's that noise?" Scared. I guess it scared the kids. The kids and Mom went inside. And Dad sat outside for a little bit. And finally, around 9 o'clock, 9:30, the wife said, "Hey, honey, come on in here. Let's go to bed, and we'll get up tomorrow morning and go do some more stuff with the kids." So that's what they did. Anyway, went to bed. He said about 1 o'clock in the morning, about 3 hours later, he felt the trailer shake. My better half's at the door, guys. Anyway, he felt the trailer shake, and it woke him and his wife up. Well, he started looking out the window, seeing what was going on, thinking maybe it's an earthquake, or because they had the jack stands underneath of it. You know, the ones that are built on trailers now. They're all, they're all down against the ground tight. Heck, the kids were inside playing in it and never rocked it. So he got up. He walked outside and said, "Hey, if anybody here screwing around, you better quit. I'll shoot you." Didn't hear anything. Didn't hear any kids running off or, teenagers, whatever, run off and, laughing and giggling, having fun, causing trouble, just to give people trouble. So he goes outside and builds a fire up out there that it was almost dead by this point. It almost had gone out, and he built it back up, to light up the area around the camp, except for what was behind the trailer. Well, he heard something walking behind the trailer while he was out there building the fire. So he kind of uses a little bit of persuasion, lighter fluid, and it blazes up real good, and the sound stops. He's standing there, and he's got a little hatchet in his hand, a little camp hatchet. And he raises up. When he raises up, he sees something blink. Like open and close its eyes because of the eye shine. Two lights. About, probably about the size of two 50-cent pieces put side by side each other. That was the one eye, is what he told me. So he looks around and he's like, "What in the world is that?" And he starts talking to it, telling him, "Hey, quit screwing around. I don't know who you are. Don't care. Just leave us alone. And I won't have to kill you." So what happened was he kind of started. He heard something at the end of the other end of the trailer, near where the door. It's got two doors on it, and he was going to the back door to get in because his wife was in there awake and she had the light on in their bedroom. And kids were asleep, and he turned and looked towards the back of the trailer, and there's one leaning out. There's a face leaned out from the back of the trailer, just kind of like my head is right now, looking at him. And it's standing there blinking, looking at him. And he yells at it. Well, this thing jerks its head back, and he hears it take 4 or 5 big steps along the back of the, away from the trailer. He runs over and gets in the door. Uh, as soon as he got in the door, I guess they slammed the door and it woke the kids up. He got a couple of kids, they're almost teenagers, 12, 11, something like that. And he what he did was, sorry guys, the cats are distracting me. He the kids scream and his wife starts screaming because the kids are screaming, telling them shut up and be quiet. You know, finally, those two Bigfoot, they evidently start rocking the trailer back and forth. And, the wife and the kids are screaming because the trailer's getting rocked or not, rolled, knocked around a little bit, and it's rocking a little bit, and it scares them, and he starts screaming. And, he don't have a gun or nothing with him. He don't know what to do. And finally, these things, he just opens the door and screams real loud, and they quit and they take off. He hears them running off. Well, nothing else happened. And his wife gets him, to where he tells her what he saw, and she says, "Those are Bigfoot. We got to get out of here." Evidently, she had an experience when she was a child with her mother. That's what she told me. That's the reason she knew it was a Bigfoot. So she leaves. She's getting the kids ready, getting them up, and makes her husband go out and get the truck. They're going to leave the camper. Go out and get the truck and bring it over to the truck to the side of the camper so the kids can climb in and she can climb in. He finally talks them into just calming down, getting them some sleep, and they'll leave first thing daylight, where it's safer for them to go outside. So, next morning, daylight, kids, the wife are in the truck. He takes them home. Don't even hook up the trailer, just takes them home. And he calls a couple of his buddies. That was Monday morning. He left. Called some buddies. One's been a lifelong hunter, and the other one's been a cop, and or an ex-cop. He'd got hurt on the job and was no longer a police officer. But he tells his buddies he needs their help to go get the camper and for them to bring guns, and he makes up kind of some BS story that he needs their help. So what happened was, next morning, it's a 5 or 6 hour drive from his house. So he goes and picks up the guys at daylight, picks up one guy, and then goes and gets the other guy. And they go with him, and they load their guns and stuff in the truck, and they head over there to get the camper. Well, they get over to get the camper, and they, it took them a while to get there. It's probably 1, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and they start loading the camper. Well, it's starting to get dark. It's starting to get late in the evening, and he's tired. He don't want to have to drive in the dark, pulling that camper, and the other guys don't want to drive, and so they say, "Well, we'll just stay here tonight." So he calls his wife and tells his wife, and the other guys call their wives and tell them, and they decide to stay there. Well, they don't build a fire or nothing. Sorry, guys. Bugs. don't build a fire, and they just go in, crawl into beds, and go sleep. Well, about 2 o'clock in the morning, they hear Bigfoot out there screaming just outside the camper. Wakes them up. They grab guns and they're debating who's going to go outside and run these things off. And, the other two guys are like, what in the heck are they? And he tells them it's Bigfoot. And they're like, there ain't no such thing. And they scream again. Said, yeah, you go out there and tell them to quit screaming. Go out there and tell those things that are screaming that they're not Bigfoot. And you go do it. You're the ones that brought the guns. Y'all go do it. Neither one will leave outside. So, these guys are inside, and finally they get outside with flashlights, and they're shining their lights around. They see eyes, and then all of a sudden they're seeing eyes all, 2 or 3 sets of eyes around them, and they're freaking out. And, but they already had hooked the camper up to the truck. That was a smart thing they did. Raised the jacks and everything, and put all the stuff away in the truck and in the camper, and all they did was, so they didn't have anything out. They just, all the stuff was put away, and they had the truck hooked to the camper. Plugged in and everything. They just went in and went to sleep. So, the one guy goes outside and he shoots his gun a couple times, and all the eyes disappear, and the other guys come out, and they all go jumping in the truck, and they start driving down the road to pull the camper out of there. And they get down there on one curve. He said it was lined on both sides with trees, pretty thick underbrush under the trees too, and they come around the curve, a right-handed curve, and there were that section of trees, the thick underbrush and the trees were, the road was wide enough for 2 vehicles to pass, no big deal. But they come around the curve, and lo and behold, the one that he saw with the head stuck out from the backside of the camper standing right in the middle of the road. He remembered the face. So this thing was probably 8 foot tall, 8.5 foot tall. Big, ugly looking thing. Hair from the top of its head all the way down to its feet. Had a cone, like, on top of its head, of hair, kind of like stuck up like a mohawk. Flared nostrils on its face, like a gorilla. Had an animal type face on it. It was standing there growling at them, because they had their windows down. It was late at night, but it was still fairly warm, and the thing was growling at them, and they rolled their windows up, and he started honking the horn and going towards this thing, and well, finally the thing takes a step or two, and it's completely off the road, and they go flying on down, and they get down on the interstate, and they get to a rest area. They pull in there, and it's 40-50 miles back to the camp, so they figure they're going to be good. They crawl in the camper and sleep. Next morning, get up because they hear tractors leaving that were parked there. They get up fairly early, around 6 o'clock, drive home. Well, I talked to the 3 men. I talked to the one gentleman's wife, and everybody's story coincided. So let me know what you think, guys. You think these Bigfoot were just trying to push them out, get them out of there so they could raid the campground trash cans, or maybe get free food or something of that nature? So you guys let me know, and I'll sit here and play with the kitten that's coming up beside me. They're fun to watch. Anyway, you guys have a good night. And this video will be uploaded, and we'll see y'all on the next one.